Welcome back, folks. Hope you're enjoying your monastic seclusion, because we certainly are. We have Charles Cole. Charles is the winner of the March primary, where he beat six seasoned Democrats who have long experience in government and certainly want to continue their careers. Charles has never been elected to any office. He's never run for any office, but he did win his first election.
I have never lost one.
Congratulations.
I'm all I say is vote your values.
Yeah.
Vote your values. Stop listening to all the party line stuff. We need to come together and come up with bipartisan issues to the big problems California is facing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what are those values? What are your particular values?
I am a constitutionalist, I am for limited government, and I am for fiscal responsibility.
All right, let's take those one at a time. So, constitutionalism. What is your belief on constitutionalism?
The Constitution means what it says, period.
Okay. Well, the Constitution gets interpreted by the courts, correct?
Yes.
All right. Even the Supreme Court has reversed itself 223 times in the last 189 years.
Yeah.
So, how do you square the fact that the Constitution is interpreted by human beings, and these human beings can end up actually making contradictory statements, like slavery, for instance, used to be constitutional, and under the Dred Scott decision, and then the Plessy versus Ferguson, the whole situation was reversed, and slavery is no longer constitutional.
Well, slavery was never once in the Constitution.
13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment.
The 13th Amendment.
So that's in the Constitution, and that defined a slave as only 3/5 of a human being.
Yeah, and that was ridiculous. A lot of people didn't want that, but a compromise was made so that was in. Same with Lincoln. Lincoln didn't want slavery at all. A compromise was made so that the Union wouldn't fall apart.
So if I'm reading you correctly, then you believe that the main body of the Constitution itself, mainly the Bill of Rights, got it right.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
It's the amendments that we argue about and we overturn. The Volstead Act back in the 30s, where you couldn't buy alcohol, then that was repealed. So I wanted to be precise on this, because you're not saying that every decision and every amendment is revealed truth. You're saying that the amendments are subject to change, but the Bill of Rights is not. Is that pretty much your idea?
Yes, absolutely.
Second Amendment issue.
Second Amendment issue: right to bear arms.
As individuals.
It doesn't say what kind of arms. You have the right to bear them. Period.
Right. So you're pleased with the recent Heller decision, Supreme Court decision that defines that the language in the Second Amendment, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, the right of the people. You interpret that. You agree with the Constitution, with the SCOTUS, when they say people means you as an individual, not as a gang of militia.
Yes.
So we can see how important elections are, because elections decide who gets to sit on the Supreme Court, who gets to sit on the federal benches, who gets to sit on the state court benches. All right, so constitutionalism. Limited government. Let's move on to limited government. What do you now? This is a value that you. This is where your Ronald Reagan heritage comes out, when he said the most frightening and terrifying 9 words in the whole English language are "I'm here from the government and I want to help."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when the government gets too big, it pretty much turns to like a cancer feeding on other parts of the populace, the private sector. It's the government taking over the private sector. That's what happens when the government gets too big.
Yeah, on your website, coalforassembly.com, you delineate your limited government value by saying that you will work for private sector solutions in Sacramento and push back on the liberal agenda of excessive taxation and regulation.
Yeah. The people in Sacramento right now are trying to fix bureaucracy with more bureaucracy. Last time I checked, when you try to fix bureaucracy with more bureaucracy, it makes the problem worse.
Right. Now, also on your website, you have something that nobody else has. We talked about it a little bit in the previous segment, and that was you've got 6 metrics. Never seen anybody candidate do this. This is brilliant. First one, does the proposed bill solve a real problem? You've covered that. Can the private sector better solve this problem? Yeah. In most cases, it can. Most cases. I love this one, though, the third one. Is the bill a dumb idea? Can you give us an example of a dumb idea that has actually found its way into law here in the state of California? Give me some dumb ideas.
Well, I can find some bills that are definitely dumb ideas. Like,
yeah, right. That's what I meant.
Back to the Muslim Day.
Yeah.
Really? That's your idea of a good bill? A Muslim Day?
Yeah. The fourth metric is the solution cost effective? Again, you're returning to your economic roots. Cost effective. So you would be analyzing bills in terms of how much they are going to be costing the taxpayer?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
All right. So would you be in favor of reducing taxes in the state of California?
Yes.
Would you be in favor of a bill that tried to get Carl's Jr. and companies like that to return to the state of California by giving?
Yes, absolutely. We need more business in California in general. If that means lowering the taxes and getting rid of regulations, so be it.
All right, so we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into the 2 remaining metrics that you use when you're elected in the assembly. Did government policy cause the problem in the first place? And if so, why don't we go back and fix the government policy? Sounds like a good idea. All right, Charles, stand by. I'm Mark McIntyre. This is Voices of Santa Barbara, right here on KZSB AM 1290. Be right back.
Thank you.
We've been talking about the fact that you have a very unique way of looking at your job when you get elected to the assembly. That is to say, you're going to apply certain metrics, certain yardsticks, if you will. We covered some of them already, but now I want to concentrate on 2. When a bill comes before you in the assembly, metric number 5 and metric number 6 read as follows. You want to ask the question of your colleagues in the assembly, did government policy cause the problem?
Right.
And if so, number 6, if so, why don't we go back and fix the government policy rather than issuing a new policy? I've never heard it put that way. How did you come up with that? And can you give any examples of that?
Well, I came up with it because you look at all the things that happen in the government and you're like, well, this government policy really didn't help the fact at all. Why'd they put that through? And then you go into, why don't they just go back and fix it?
Well, when I read these 2 things, I immediately thought of the fact that for the last 30 years, the state government has been passing laws after regulation after law to forbid clear cutting around power lines because of they don't want to damage a snake or a bug that might be nearby. They also have been proposing legislation to forbid you to clean out basins, flood basins, because you might kill a snail darter fish or something of that nature. And did government policy cause the problem? Well, we just went through horrific fires and horrific floods 2 years ago. In your opinion, is that what you're talking about causing the problem?
Yeah. That's one of many examples. In Ventura, they didn't allow any clear cutting around high voltage power lines or power stations.
Right.
And after a dry summer and a generally dry winter as well.
Yep.
What do you expect is going to happen if something sparks in there? And for that, I kind of will blame Steve Bennett personally, because that's his district in Ventura.
Yeah, and he was on the Board of Supervisors when all of this was coming through, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I wonder how he's going to respond to that. Maybe we should ask. Maybe we should ask the experts to weigh in on that. I know in Colorado. In Colorado, if you drive by a high voltage power towers, they clear cut for 1 mile.
Oh yeah, they clear.
Mile.
Clear all of that.
Yeah, but you can't do that in Ventura County. You can't do that in Santa Barbara County because you might evict a bug from their.
Yeah, well, now the bug's not there anyway, so.
Well, also 24 people who are not even alive anymore because of the fires and the floods.
Yeah.
So I guess it's more important to have bugs in the ground than people in their homes. So I guess
they care about the bugs in the ground and don't care about the voters in their district or the people in their district at all.
I guess not. We're gonna take a break again, and I think this is our last break. Is this our last break, Dr. Dugan? Is this our last break? No. This is it? Oh wow.
Wow, that was fast.
So there's no break at all. We're coming up on the end of the show.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
Thanks for having me.
So anything else you want to say, Charles? Like voting for you?
Check me out at colforassembly.com. I'm here to listen to everybody. No new taxes. Let's go win this thing.
Thanks for being with us, Charles. Thanks very much for listening to us, folks. We'll see you next time.